Good afternoon, and hello everyone who's currently joining us at the current moment. We're going to go ahead and start here in about 5 minutes. But in the meantime, while you're waiting, please be sure to visit our social media pages such as Instagram, Facebook, as even LinkedIn, and make sure to follow us there. We even have a brand new group that we created on LinkedIn called Firebird Travel Agents. And there we're always updating the freshest information on our products, webinars, promotions, and even answering any questions you may have. So again, thanks for tuning in for now, and we'll go ahead and start here in the next 5 minutes. Actually, I also wanted to mention at the bottom of this or within this specific presentation, we do have a handout. It's a PDF, and you can definitely download it. Would definitely recommend doing this, as all the information will be there as well. Hello, everyone, and good afternoon or good morning if you're in California like Oksana. I do want to thank you all for joining me today, where we'll be discussing closing techniques as well as our fall destinations. So again, thank you for tuning in. In the meantime, while we're going through the presentation, if you do have any questions, please feel free to ask away. My colleague Morta will be sure to help answer any questions. As today I'll be the only presenter, so I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, but another item I like to mention, last week I did have the flu, so please excuse me if I do have to mute my mic in order to take a sip of water and or cough, so my apologies on that. But again, thank you for tuning in. In the meantime, again, as you are listening, feel free to go out to the social media outlets such as Facebook or Instagram. You can even go to LinkedIn and follow us there, where we have a new group. It's called Firebird Travel Agents Group. And here you'll get the freshest updates on our products, webinars, promotions, and we can even answer any questions you may have. You can connect with me personally on LinkedIn as well by simply searching my full name, which will be on the next page. It's Benjamin Schulze, and always happy to answer any questions to you directly there as well. I'm always posting some items there regarding our tours too. So again, LinkedIn's a great place for us to connect there. Also wanted to mention, as I did before, there is a PDF handout about this particular presentation, so be sure to download it, as there's a lot of good information there as well. So let's move on here. Today, again, I am your only presenter. I'm excited to see some very familiar faces and attendees, so thank you for that. But real quick, for those of you who don't know me, let me introduce. My name is Benjamin Schulze. I have been with Firebird Tours for now 6 years, and my focus is dedicated to the agent side of business and increasing your sales with us. I've been traveling in and out of Europe ever since I was a little kid. My mom side, she's from Belgium, coupled with my travel experiences that I've gained through Firebird Tours. My insight to European travel is pretty vast, needless to say. But enough about me. I'm not going to go too much into that. Let's start with our presentation and learn more about our wonderful programs. The agenda for today, I'd like to cover that. Firstly, we always usually talk about our company. I'll dive a little more into that today, actually, regarding our particular products and what we offer as our standard, if you will, services. Then we'll go into the fall destinations, which is Spain, Portugal, Morocco, and Italy for us. And then we'll dive a little bit into our closing techniques, some of my personal favorites. And at the very end, we'll go over what's next to come on our following webinar, and a very short Q&A at the end, and looking forward to answering your questions. So let's begin about Firebird Tours. We are a direct tour operator, and what this means is we can guarantee the best value for our travelers by dealing with local suppliers in each destination. We help our clients and your clients explore over 37 countries in the continent of Europe and beyond, including Morocco, obviously, which we'll discuss today, Mongolia, and even China, believe it or not. Another sub-destination that I personally like myself, which we've actually sold a lot of, is the Caucasus region. And if you're not familiar with the Caucasus, that's Georgia, Azerbaijan, and Armenia. So if you ever have clients for that, just keep that in the back of your mind to reach out to us. We've been in business for plus 10 years. We've been creating and fine-tuning our programs throughout, from our customer reviews to our genius logistics team in Europe. They've really made some fascinating dream vacations, and more so our logistics is really good at fine-tuning what's most comfortable for our travelers and moving from point A to point B. But yeah, we'll dive more into that as well. And another question, obviously, since we are always working with agents, they tend to ask me, do you pay a commission? Of course we pay a commission, and our commission rates are 10% for our general small group tours, as well as our normal private tours. However, we do have a line of products called Platinum products. This, if you will, is our creme de la creme type of services, and we actually pay 15% commission. So it'd be very nice if you can sell one of those as well. Going more into our programs here, I'm kind of just going to cover, if you will, the general services that are always within our programs. So let's kind of start off from the very top here. We had a long list to drill down through. First, our downtown hotels, 4- and 5-star hotel properties is what we always offer. Now, from time to time, yes, if your clients want 3-star hotels, we can definitely help with that. But again, typically not something we go for because we're always looking for people to travel better, but also really experience and have the normal amenities that they're used to, right? Our North American travelers, they're used to one, air conditioning, two, large enough rooms to move around and put their bags. The small little details that really go into play. Whereas, if you go through booking.com, you're not always sure about the room sizes. And then when you click on the room, it's literally 10 square meters. You're like, oh man, it's definitely not enough. So again, we do a very good job of vetting our hotels and what we call our preferred hotels. So for example, in Rome, we have a good list of 6 to 8 4-star hotel properties. The reason why we go for 6 to 8 hotel properties is sometimes there's maybe a sporting event that's going on and other hotels have higher rates, or there's a convention nearby and again, the hotels are filled, but we still have these other hotels which have lower rates. So what I'm getting as our preferred hotels are all meeting the same guidelines, centrally located within the city. They have air conditioning. The room sizes are favorable for the customers, but also know that they are traveling to Europe, and typically the room sizes are smaller than what they're used to here in the States. Moving on from there, what's always included is our arrival and departure transfers. Yeah, pretty much said and done. However, there's one thing I would like to point out. What we account for is literally one arrival transfer and one departure transfer. So say you have 8 travelers who are going with us, and we don't have their flight information, but they're booking the trip. Please note that if they end up and we find out they're coming in at different times for that day and are departing for their last day coming back to the States or Canada, we have to make sure that we do account for all the transfers, and we do have to have extra charge for any additional transfer. So again, one arrival transfer, one departure transfer is calculated within our pricing. And speaking of that pricing, all of our pricing is based off of per person rates. So whenever I'm quoting you, whenever I'm sending you a program, it's per person, not total amount. So pretty simple there. Next, our professional guides. I think this is really where we hang our hat on. Not only are our guides professional in the means that in terms of them having an actual certificate to be a guide within their city and country, but they also have to meet the qualifications of what we're looking for out of our guides. One, they have to speak English very well, and they can communicate with our customers and travelers. And two, they have to be professional. We're not just giving you a run-of-the-mill guide that I'm sure if you've been to Europe before and maybe you've seen some people holding signs like free tours, free guides. Well, that's definitely not the type of service we are looking for, as we're in the premium market and we want to make sure people, they're paying us a pretty penny, and we want to make sure that they do have a well-educated tour, if you will. Moving on to our private drivers and vehicles, if you will. We do hire the private drivers for the tours. Now, these drivers, the type of vehicles that they'll have are Mercedes style, BMW style, luxury sedan style for those 2-packs that book. For larger groups, we'll have luxury vans, and even for the bigger ones, we have the large Sprinter vans, if you're familiar. Small group tour sizes, they range from 14 travelers to 20 travelers. For the majority of the programs that we'll be speaking about today, majority of them really do max out at 14. So that's really small group. I know there's a lot of companies out there that say they're small group. However, when they say 25, 30, not so small, and we don't really believe in that. So again, we strive to reach our 14 to 20 travelers within our small group tours. Custom private tours, pretty plain and simple. I mean, we're really good at planning custom tours, and actually, believe it or not, I would say majority of our programs that we sell to agents typically do go for private custom tours, because a lot of times the client's requests are so specific that we're very well trusted and we can find all the information and plan it accordingly. So it really relieves a lot of stress from you on your end. One thing I do like to mention, if there's any type of specific restrictions, if you will, we don't really like any programs that are less than 5 days. It's just too short for us, and we're very busy, and we have a lot of customers that are asking for big packages. So a full package contains hotels, touring, transfers, internal transportation, items such as this. So it has to be a full package program in 5 days or more. Next is entrance tickets. Obviously, your clients will be having entrance tickets. Typically, for our small group tours and in general tours, the guides have the entrance tickets on them. So your tourists don't even need to hold the entrance tickets. But what I wanted to point out in this specific bullet point is they're out of line admission tickets. And what that actually means is, they see a long line, say, you name the place, say the Coliseum for whatever reason. We'll say there's a line wrapping around the front entrance. We've already purchased the out-of-line admission tickets. Your clients, along with the guide, will bypass that line and enter right into the museum and do their touring. So it's a very nice feature for sure. Logistical support. The reason why I put this bullet in here is, when your clients do end up booking with us and they're overseas, and say you and I are over here and we're still sleeping, it's the middle of the night and they're waking up at 9 a.m. to have breakfast and meeting their tour guide. Well, we're still sleeping in bed and they can't reach us. However, they can reach our local offices who speak English and are more than helpful to make sure your clients' questions get answered. So it's, again, very nice having that support over there because most likely you and I will be sleeping. Another great feature about our company is we offer visa services. Now, for the countries we'll be speaking about today, most of our customers won't need visas, but it's something I did want to mention, as our visa support is it really eases the pain, if you will, having you not to stress over your clients, making sure they have visas. We really hold their hand and walk them through literally each step of the way. And we even fine tune the applications, so it's even easier for your customers to fill them out. But yeah, that's about the visa support. As I mentioned, yes, we do pay a commission. As I mentioned earlier, commissions are 10% for our small group and general private tours. And then for our platinum line of products, creme de la creme, 15% for those specific tours. Lastly, flights. Now, some agents, every now and then, they do ask me if we can do flights for them. And my knee-jerk reaction usually is just no. As you are agents, you do know the flight industry. It is a pain, and it typically, yeah, you can do the flights on your own for sure. However, if that's not the case and you do need assistance, we'll be more than happy to assist. And we're talking about your transatlantic flights or international flights for your customers. Any internal flights, so say a flight from Madrid to Lisbon, we would cover that within the program. It's an internal flight. It's just really those external flights or transatlantic flights, those are not included within our price quotes. So yeah, that's about it for our basic services, and not so basic because there is a lot of services and valuable services, not only for you, but for your clients. So let's maybe start talking about our fall destinations here. Excuse me. So fall destinations. Why are we going to travel in the fall? Well, for one, the benefit is going to be less crowds. As school has started already for universities and lower schools, most people are not traveling at this time. Same with even Europeans. A lot of the Europeans themselves, their vacations are in the summer. And believe it or not, if you're from Belgium, your mandatory 6-week vacation that everybody has is usually taken in the summer because the kids are out. So traveling to the south is very common. So during the autumn months or fall months, it's much less crowded and way more favorable for your customers who do have the flexibility to travel during this time. Also, you'll have typically lower rates as in the fall. Again, we call shoulder season. It's not peak or low. This is just a perfect example from maybe our schooling days, which we can remember, about simple supply and demand. The less people that are traveling, the rates tend to fall slightly because the hotels do need to fill their availability, and that kind of transcends throughout, such as flights, for example. The weather during this time of the year for these countries will not be hot. It'll be very cool. And actually, the slides that are coming up will give you the average temperatures for September, October, and November within the capital cities of each destination. So you can kind of get an idea of what the temperatures would be. And it's really nice for touring. So the scenic outdoor activities that you're taking, the extra hike, walking around and exploring the cities, it's just much easier. You're not sweating, you're not overheating at all, and it is just sweater weather, if you will. So where are we traveling during the fall, or recommended places to travel? Well, it's going to be Spain, Portugal, Morocco, and Italy, which we will cover now. And again, please be sure to keep asking questions. I do see them coming in. My colleague Morta, who is listening in, she's supporting me, and she'll be happy to hopefully start answering some of your questions that you're leaving. And thank you for the engagement. So here we are, Spain, our first destination, probably one of my overall favorite destinations. I'm talking to you out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. As maybe some of you know, Florida is a hotbed for all different types of Spanish culture, South American, Caribbean, you name it, we have it down here. However, what I was really pleasantly surprised about Spain is just completely different from any of those other Spanish cultures, if you will, especially from here in South Florida. It's a very laid back environment in Spain. And honestly, I was just blown away by how much I really enjoyed the country. So always recommend, if you haven't been, please feel free to give me a call and we can talk all about it. But for now, in the time to travel in fall, the places that we really wanted to check off and thought were great. One is Majorca and the Canary Islands. These are two islands, obviously belonging to Spain. It's warm really all year round. And what's really great maybe is if they're touring, say, in the Andalusia region for 7, 8 days, and they still want an extension, but they don't want to do touring and they just want to relax. Well, let's do a 2 or 3 day extension to Majorca or the Canary Islands. Very easy to set up. Flights are very inexpensive, round trip in and out. So it'd be a lot of fun for them to do. Obviously, Seville, which is, you can definitely catch a fascinating flamenco show there. And if you're not familiar with the flamenco shows, actually the flamenco shows originated from this region of Spain called the Andalusia region. So we definitely recommend adding that into their programs, although the flamenco shows are typically already included for you and for your clients in there. Next, recommend Jerez. Jerez is just south of Seville. And during this time of the year, actually in September, kind of just past year, for this particular sherry festival that they have, it takes place from September 1st through September 16th. And the celebrations pay tribute to the culture of Jerez. And those festivities include flamenco shows, horse parades, display of horsemanship, visits to vineyards, as well as wine tasting, exhibitions, and competitions. So it's a lot of fun actually during that time of the year. Again, sorry, just passed, but hopefully we can book it for your clients for 2019. The next region I want to talk about is La Rioja. It's a wine region more towards in the north, closer to Bilbao, if you're familiar. It's a beautiful region known for the autumn colors and the wine harvest during this period. And obviously we all know Madrid. While in Madrid, definitely recommend taking a stroll through Retiro Park. And the reason why that is the fall-like colors of all the trees will be coming out. It's absolutely beautiful. And to maybe add some more of your expertise to your clients, you can even tell them about a hidden library actually within the park, which is really cool. And you can tell them to check that out. Some travel tips here. Don't forget your sweater for sure. It might be a little windy and a little cool because you can see the temperatures here at the very bottom right of this particular slide. And again, this is for out of Madrid, the average temperatures for September, October, and November. Exchange, obviously, they're using euros there. So make sure you tell your clients to exchange those euros before arriving. The average price for a meal typically is 12 to 20 euros, depending obviously upon where you're eating. Tipping amount is optional. However, when you're going to cafes, or a coffee shop, just loose change, whatever's left over, essentially, you can hand to them, very small amount, nothing too great. Regarding actual dinners and lunches, no more than 10%. Anything more than 10% sometimes can come off as a little impersonable, if you will. So, and 10% is a max for tipping. English isn't too common amongst locals, so try to learn a few Spanish words and phrases, and this might help you along the way. And that kind of goes throughout anywhere where you're traveling. It's always fun to tell your clients to learn a little bit of the language, or at least try to show that you're at least putting forth an effort to the locals. Now moving on, actually about our programs that we have to offer to Spain. The first section up here will have dates that are still available for 2018. And I'm kind of just gonna go through these programs relatively quickly with a brief description about them. So let's go ahead with the first one. That first program that we'll be discussing is Madrid and Barcelona plus Northern Spain. This is a small group tour that's up to 14 travelers. It's 9 days in duration, 4 cities, which include Madrid, Barcelona, San Sebastian, and Bilbao. During this program, your clients will enjoy the key highlights in Madrid, Barcelona, and then will make their way to the incredible northern Spain to see the cities, as I just mentioned, San Sebastian and Bilbao. In the 9 days, they'll explore many sites such as the Prado Museum, Grada Sagrada Familia, obviously in Barcelona, the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao, and even do a Rioja wine tour in the north. So very fun for the customers. That program is $36.98. Remember, that's per person pricing. And again, we always do pay commission. Next program, very similar to the one that I've just mentioned. However, it just focuses merely on Madrid, if you will, Toledo, which was actually the first capital of Spain, if you did not know that. Then we go again onto San Sebastian and Bilbao. Again, small group tour and up to 14 travelers. And here we go, a platinum Spain. Remember, platinum programs, we're offering 15% commission. You can see that sales price per person, $69.28. Obviously, we all don't always have these 5-star luxury clients that come in. However, when you do have one that sprinkles on by, make sure to grab them and always point them out to these programs. Again, those platinum programs, I forgot to mention that before, the hotels that they actually have are going to be plus 5-star. And what I mean by plus 5-star is Four Seasons and Ritz-Carlton type of hotels. So really the top line hotels. And then we also add in some fun, unique day tours to the end of the day usually. So, you know, they usually have the city tour, but then there's a fun experience also included within there. So we really heighten the overall program for them. So again, that's our platinum line for Spain. Moving on here for programs that we don't have anymore for 2018, just because they've sold out or passed in terms of the dates. We have these for 2019. This is probably one of my personal favorites, the Treasures of Southern Spain, and one of our probably most popular ones as well. Again, small group tour, 9 days in duration. They'll see 5 cities, which include Madrid, Toledo, Cordoba, Granada, and Seville. Your clients will enjoy obviously the main highlights in Madrid, which they'll see the Royal Palace and Prado Museum, and then spending the day visiting historic Toledo, as we mentioned, used to be the original capital of Spain. Then they'll head south to the Andalusia region where the oldest mosque is located in Cordoba, and then they'll experience the best of Seville, an authentic flamenco show there, as we mentioned before. And then also they'll visit one of the most visited sites actually in Spain, the Alhambra of Granada. Absolutely stunning and beautiful site. So another item I wanted to mention, we have private tours. Now, private tours and custom tours, we can literally customize it to however they want and see. Now, we do spend a lot of time and effort to really make these programs so that they're most comfortable. Remember when I told you about our logistics and how much time they spend on fine-tuning our programs, along with all the reviews. Again, we've been in business for 10 years. We get thousands and thousands of reviews every single year to make sure we're always bettering our programs. We listen to our customers to make sure that we enhance it. So along with our logistics, along with our own travelers, we're always making our programs better and better every single year. And then again, there are private ones. We have plus 10 private tours easily that are very flexible in terms of dates, in terms of hotels, in terms of structure. So say I send you a program and your clients come back to you and say, hey, Pamela, we don't like day number 5. Remove it or give us something else. Well, you can come to me. We can remove it. We can add something else in. And again, it'll be a good way to, one, show our expertise, to show the flexibility that we have. And again, make sure your clients really do enjoy the trip of their lifetime. Again, just a reminder, if you have questions, please continue to ask them, and my colleague Morta will try and answer them as quickly as possible. Excuse me. Next, we have Portugal. Actually, this is one of my favorite destinations. I even took my honeymoon there this past year, so congrats to me. That was a lot of fun and can tell you all about it. If you guys ever want to give me a call, happy to speak. But our second destination, as I mentioned, is Portugal, which continues to be amongst the top destinations in Europe, with 12.7 million tourists visiting the country in 2017 alone. And in 2018, I'm not sure if you knew this or not, it was voted the #1 destination in almost every category for European travel. So again, highly recommend it for your customers. The first destination obviously would be Algarve and the Estoril coasts. Algarve region is the very, very southern region of Portugal. It's great for a beach break. It offers some stunning rocky cliff views right on the coastline. If I can try and paint a picture to you of what it kind of looks like, I would say kind of like a little bit like Big Sur in California. The cliff views, absolutely stunning. You have beautiful beaches, and it's very warm there. It's absolutely stunning. Recommend Googling a few of those images there. Also, if your clients are big into golfing, this region boasts a perfect climate for autumn to book a world-class golf courses. So definitely recommend that for those golfers out there. Next is Lisbon. The great historic monuments and modern museums and lively atmosphere. It's a whole reason to go. Also, didn't know if you knew this, but the Vasco da Gama Bridge is actually 10.7 miles long, and it's actually Europe's longest bridge as well. Porto, obviously for those who are maybe wine fans, known for the port wine, if you will. It's also a city that has actually some really great food. And during this time of the year, there's this restaurant called Restaurante Book, which presents its menus in flavorful dishes and Portuguese wines in old paperbacks with literary quotes from each daily special. So kind of cool. And again, just shows your expertise to your customers on top of the information we give them on our tours. Last but not least, probably one of my personal favorites within Portugal is going to be Madeira and the Azore Islands. These set of island chains have a very similar look, if you will, to like the Hawaiian Islands. They're very mountainous, that you can do whale watching and dolphin watching. You can take hikes, you can do 4x4 tours, and a whole lot more. Usually a little more active type of sightseeing, if you will, but again, absolutely stunning. And we had a group book with us this past year with an agent, and there was 16 of them, and they discovered all of Portugal, and at the very end they did about 4 or 5 different islands within Madeira and the Azores. So yeah, really neat trip. Regarding some national holidays just to watch out for during the fall, it's going to be October 5th. It's the Republic Day. There's not, and to go dive into a little more, the Republic Day celebrates the proclamation of the first Portuguese Republic in 1910. Little fun fact there. But it's not that crazy of a holiday in terms of, really having any historical background with specific traditions. But just note that most likely stores and restaurants might be closed on this specific day. November 1st, you may know all this as well, but it's known as the Day of the Dead, celebrates the belief of spiritual bond between those in purgatory and those in heaven and still living. Many spend the day honoring the dead by cleaning graves and placing flowers. Many bake sweet cakes as well with cinnamon or serve chestnuts with wine outdoors. So yeah, a very fun thing to know, but also know that most likely on this day, things will also be closed. At the very bottom of this slide, you'll see the average weather temperatures for Lisbon. You'll see it for September, October, and November. Another thing I want to point out, at the very top right of the screen, you'll see the hashtag WebBenR. It's going to play on words there. But if you ever have questions and you are on Twitter, please feel free to just hashtag that and ask us a question, and we can get back with you as well. So moving on to our specific programs for Portugal. We still have this one program, Iberian Discovery, which is available for 2018. We still have some dates there. And this program is a small group tour. It's up to 14 travelers. It's 9 days in duration. And it encompasses Lisbon, Madrid, and Barcelona. So really the capitals of the Iberian Peninsula. It's $31.98 per person. Your clients will have the time of their life with our small group tour, enjoying the top sites of Portugal and Spain. And honestly, it's a really great program. And please note, if you do ever have customers that want a specific itinerary and you go to our website and you actually want something more detailed than what you can see on the website, reach out to us. One of our representatives or myself can send you a more detailed program than what you can see on the website. As for 2019, if you want to book in advance, another program and probably one of our most popular small group tours for specifically Portugal is going to be the Best of Portugal, from Lisbon to Porto. This is a small group tour. It's up to 14 travelers. That's 7 days in duration, and it encompasses 5 cities, which is Lisbon, Sintra, Porto, Braga, and Guimarães. Uh, your clients will discover the highlights of the sun-kissed capital of Lisbon, stop by the fairy tale castles of Sintra, and if you haven't been to Sintra, absolutely stunning. It's essentially a very large national park with beautiful castles. After the southern part of Portugal, then they proceed north to Porto and taste the authentic port wine and stroll through one of the oldest European town centers, which is actually registered on the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Next program that we do have to offer is our Royal Douro Voyage, and it's a 5-star cruise. However, before the cruise, it does start south within Lisbon, and then from there, your clients work your way north to Porto, where they'll actually board the ship and then take their cruise. Relatively longer program and a lot of details within there, so I'm not going to go too much into it. However, if you do have a customer who's interested in this program, happy to send you a more detailed itinerary. And as always, we do have the private tours. Here it shows we have +7 private tours within flexible dates. Again, our private tours are flexible in terms of dates, hotels, itineraries, and so on and so forth. Next up, Morocco. Here I'll talk about some of the best places to visit during the fall, just because some of them do have like festivals going on and items and a couple of my favorite cities. So first, Iford is how you pronounce the first one. And this is an oasis town in the desert where most famous date festival, date festival takes place in October, which marks the end of the harvest season. It's a 3-day festival and it's a delicious celebration with rich in food, local music, dancing, camel racing, how cool is that, and other fun activities. The next item I wanted to mention was a festival, Taragalte. It is located in the Sahara Desert, and this holiday celebrates and recognizes the nomadic culture of the region. The festival also takes place in the month of October. Another one of my probably my favorite city in all of Morocco is going to be Chefchaouen, is how you pronounce it. And this city is actually located within the Rif Mountains. It's a mountain chain located to the north of Morocco. And almost every building in this town is some shade of blue. So some type of blue, the entire building is painted. There are several theories as to why these walls were painted blue. One popular theory is it helps keep mosquitoes away, although I think I highly doubt that. Another is that the Jews introduced the blue when they took refuge here from Hitler in the 1930s. The blue is also said to symbolize the sky and the heaven and to serve as a reminder to lead a spiritual life. The next is going to be Marrakesh. Obviously, Marrakesh is a major economic center for Morocco and home to the beautiful mosques, palaces, and gardens. One of those mosques will be, I'm probably going to butcher this one, and it'll be in the notes, but it's Koutoubia, and it's not only a spiritual center as a large mosque in the city center, but it's also a point of reference for international architecture. It's the beautiful 12th century mosque is setting a trend for buildings in Spain as well as Rabat, and Rabat is actually the capital of Morocco, in case you didn't know that. What to pack while you're in visiting Morocco? Well, for one, it's going to be loose-fitting clothing and hats, scarves, sunglasses for protection. Nights can be quite cold, so make sure to take some warmer weather with you, warm sleepwear with you, excuse me. And then also consider bringing an umbrella for shade, just to get out of the sun and make sure you beat that sun. Weather, located to the bottom right, it's the average temperature in Rabat. As I mentioned, that is the capital of Morocco. And there you can see the dates, the months, September, October, and November. So moving on to our programs here for Morocco, dates that we still have available for 2018 is going to be our Morocco small group tour. Obviously, this is a small group tour, hence the title of the name. The maximum amount of travelers for this particular program is 14 travelers. That's 9 days in durations. We cover 6 cities. We'll cover Casablanca, Fez, Volubilis, Meknes, Maragoza, and Marrakesh. Your clients will see Casablanca and enjoy the ancient feel of Fez. On this program, they'll even have the opportunity to stay in a Moroccan Berber camp and go camel trekking in the desert. Another program that we have now available for 2019, it's the two continents from Barcelona to Marrakesh. It's 24 days in duration, 8 cities. And this is not obviously maybe too common because not too many people probably have the 24 days to really take off. But again, if it kind of shows you what we can offer and that we really don't have a limitation. Again, this is a private tour, and again, it encompasses 2 countries, and you can imagine the crazy logistics that's all associated within getting from point A to point B on that particular program. Treasures of Morocco, probably one of our more popular programs for this destination in specific. It's 10 days in duration, 8 cities. They'll visit Casablanca, Rabat, Fez, Volubilis, Meknes, Ben El Oudain, Marrakesh, and Es Essaouira. It's a beautiful place to visit. This particular program does not include the desert route. However, they do admire Morocco's little Switzerland, the city of Ifrane, and nearby natural reserve. So again, highly recommend this program. Please note that if any of your customers do want the desert experience, and say it's a private tour, and say they only have 5 days to visit Morocco, well, maybe I wouldn't recommend doing the desert tour because just getting out to the desert takes about 13 hours of driving, and then you still got to drive back. It's really in the middle of nowhere. So that being said, I always recommend about 2 to 3 days extra in addition for anyone who's adding the desert tour. And as I mentioned earlier, if you do have any questions, please feel free to ask below, and my colleague Morta will try and answer. Also, private tours, we have many of them. Again, just wanted to mention that we try to stay away from anything shorter than 5 days in duration. Anything 5 days or more, it's all good. And we can plan the hotels, tours, internal transportation, and all that jazz. Next program, or next destination, excuse me, Italy. Some of the best places that we found are a little more popular to visit. The first one is going to be Cinque Terre. It's known for its coastal charm. I would say it's a pretty similar, it's different, but I would say similar to the Amalfi Coast. However, it does offer some different views and some different cultural aspects. But Cinque Terre is a string of century-old seaside villages on a rugged Italian Riviera coastline. In each 5 towns, colorful houses, vineyards cling and steep the terraces. It's absolutely beautiful. So again, Google Images, you'll see a lot of it. The region is famous for the sauce, which we call today as pesto. You didn't know that. Next destination, Florence, which is the capital of the famous region of Italy called Tuscany. During this time of the year, your clients will love going to the theaters. Believe it or not, Florence does have some top-notch theaters to go to, and make sure to check out those calendars for those theaters. I'll name 3 of those theaters now. One of them is La Pergola, and again, these will be in the notes too. So if I'm butchering it and you can't understand me, look in the notes. The next one will be Teatro Puccini, and then the last one, Teatro Verde, which are all the most famous theaters in Florence. Next, Venice. We all know Venice, but obviously a quick, brief description. The actual city of Venice is made up of 100 small islands in the lagoon on the Adriatic Sea. It has no roads, just canals, so it's really an ideal place for your clients to check off their bucket list to do a gondola ride. So make sure they do that. Obviously Rome, for all the reasons, just to name a couple, as we know, the Vatican and the Colosseum. But with all of our programs, we usually stay here probably the longest out of all the cities, just because there is so much to see, especially for those first-time clients who haven't been to Italy. We want to make sure that they do hit all the major sites, especially within Rome, because we all know Rome is just so popular. Next is Sicily. A very, very popular destination for us as well. Usually better for the second time visitors to Italy, or people who have like family heritage from the region. We have some really great tours there. During the midsummer, though, it's really, really hot in Sicily, so we actually recommend not traveling during the summer to this destination, which is why it's on our fall destination list. Um, Two of the more popular programs that we do, day trips that we do book. One is the Godfather tour, which is a lot of fun to do. And then the other is a tour to the Mount Etna. And actually Mount Etna is the tallest volcano in all of Europe, in case you didn't know that. Some travel tips, obviously they're on the euro. Average price for a nice meal for two is about 40 euros. Sometimes a service charge called servizio can be added or included within the bill. So make sure you tell your clients about that. Excuse me. And the last point here, most service staff can speak English, but again, as always, advised to learn just a few Italian phrases, and that always adds to the fun of traveling within a particular destination. So always mention that to your customers. And here we go, the average temperatures for Rome, and again, September, October, November, you can see that there, also added on our notes as well for the presentation. Now, our programs for Italy. I would say overall, Italy has really taken off for us and really one of our most popular destinations from this past year. And we're already having so many bookings for 2019. So I really recommend all these programs I'm about to speak to you on now. Obviously, our Platinum Italy, 15% commission. Let's sell that one. It's a small group tour. It's 10 days in duration. You see 3 cities, Venice, Florence, and Rome. Really the main thing in regards to this program is the luxurious hotels. I'm sure maybe you're all familiar if you have booked Italy before. The most expensive thing really comes down to is hotels within Italy. It's one of the most sought after destinations in the world to visit. Within this program, we do, again, put them in the top-notch hotels, and we do add some very nice day trips and great experience great programs for the clients to experience in the evening. So it's not just doing a city tour and then free time the rest of the day. We actually enhance the overall sightseeing and programming. Again, this is a small group tour as well. Our small group tours, by the way, whenever it does say platinum, it's really going to max around 8 to 9 travelers total. So those platinum small group tours are going to be much less, obviously, as not everyone typically, has the money for a platinum program, if you will. For our 2019 destinations, our most popular from this past year is this specific program called Cultural Capitals. Really ideal for the first-time traveler to Italy, as it does encompass the cities of Venice, Florence, and Rome. It's 10 days in duration. Very favorable price, actually, $32.53 per person. Again, we do pay the 10% commission on this one. But yeah, I'd highly recommend this one for your customers as well, as it is our most popular small group tour. We do include 4-star hotels within this program, all which are within the city centers, and it's very, very fascinating itinerary. The next program I'd like to mention is going to be the Sicily Small Group Tour. This Sicily Small Group Tour is 9 days in duration. And you'll be visiting 6 cities, and those 6 cities consist of Palermo, Iris, Marirala, Cefalù, Agrigento, and Taormina. In 9 days, your clients will explore the capital city of Palermo and take a day trip to the medieval hilltop of Iris. And then they'll make their way to Marirala and have a scenic tour of Cefalù. From there, they continue on to Agrigento and its enchanting valley of the temples, which maybe I think you're pretty familiar with, which is also a UNESCO heritage site. Travelers will see the best attractions of Taormina, and to top it all off, they will rise up to Mount Etna to see the highest volcano in Europe. And this particular program is actually interesting because, yes, it does say 9 days here. However, we can even cut it down to 7 days, still within the small group tour. So depending upon if they want to add those additional extra days and extra touring, they can do that. So again, the Sicily small group tour, we have it for 7 days, 8 days, and 9 days, and obviously pricing will reflect accordingly. So here you can see the price for the 9-day program is $27.48, which is very nice. So obviously the 7-day one would be less, and so on and so forth. Next program, we have Rome and the Amalfi Coast. This too is a small group tour. However, it is 7 days in duration. And they visit Rome, Pompeii, and Sorrento. And Sorrento is located within the Amalfi Coast, as maybe you're familiar with. But again, your travelers traverse the attractions of Rome, which are also often referred to as the Eternal City. Then they set off south to the Amalfi Coast and discover Pompeii and the must-sees of Sorrento and Positano. And then obviously our private programs. I would say Italy is one of our most popular destinations for those private tours and very customized private tours. As a lot of times, not only do we get those first-time travelers, but we get the returning travelers who have family heritage, who know Italy very well. Sometimes they can speak Italian even. However, they do want us to do all the services for them, such as the hotels and the transportation and the transfers. All those little small details really play a big part. And nowadays, people tend to be busier and busier and busier, and they just don't have time or really want to really book all those services for themselves. So, these private programs, we have many of them, and we're always happy to customize those for you. So moving on, closing techniques. These are a few of my personal favorites. This maybe isn't going to work for everybody, but again, these are the ones that I like to use. And I don't want to say push your clients. I would say just maybe nudging them, if you will, to make sure they are booking with you. Because at the end of the day, one, your clients are going to travel at some point. Two, they should be traveling with you, and you're the expert as well. So you need to make sure you show this to them. So let's go through these points here briefly, and hopefully they will help you. One, reviews from your past clients. Use your references. If a customer is doubting you, or they don't like the program, or you feel some sort of hesitation, feel free to say, hey, I have a customer who just traveled with me or traveled with me in the past. If you would like, I can ask them for their contact details, and if it's okay if I share them with you, and then that way you can contact them and just ask them more questions. Again, the biggest thing obviously within this industry and travel is trust. Trust. The minute you can't trust someone, everything goes out the window and they most likely won't book with you. So to build that trust, to build that rapport, make sure you use your reviews from your past clients. Next is payment plans. I know that maybe sound kind of weird, but as we know, not everyone has all that much money. And if someone's really pushing you on, the cost of a trip, one, always don't, I wouldn't say ignore them if they're bring up some sort of objection for the cost of a trip. Always focus merely on the services of what you are providing with them. Whenever you tell them about the services of what's really included, a lot of times it really adds up to why something is that amount. Also, for those payment plans, one, in order to book a trip with us, most trips are booked in advance, actually, plus 4, 6, 8 months out. And when that does happen, all we need is a deposit. That deposit is going to be $500 or 20%, whichever is greater. That's just the deposit in order to lock down the tour. From there, our final invoice or final balance is due 90 days before departure. However, say your clients book a year in advance and they would like to pay in installments. By all means, we can actually create invoices for them to pay in installments, whether it's month by month, whether it's every other month. Actually, it makes it a very nice way, and it maybe eases the pain for some travelers to make sure those payments do come through so they can go on their trip. Another great way is our Friends Trip option. Obviously, the more people you travel with, the better. If you have 4 travelers versus 8 travelers, well, the price for 4 travelers is now going to be divided by 8 travelers. So the per person pricing for a guide or a driver gets cut by 4. So again, it's always better to travel with friends. So always try and encourage your customers to travel with any of their friends. Next one I'd like to mention is our flexible hotel option. I mentioned it really in the beginning of our general services that we have. And going back to our preferred hotels. So as I mentioned, we have multiple hotels that we work with out of all the cities I've been speaking about today. And those flexible hotels, again, is going to the fact that we can literally choose, from 6 hotels within that city, that whatever has the best rate. Now, again, we really make sure that those hotels are meeting our qualifications for our customers and your customers. That's being, sizable rooms, air conditioning, and centrally located within the city. For closing techniques, I personally think that this is the most important one, number 5 and number 6. Number 5, create a sense of urgency. Give you a couple examples. Visas need to be filled out or in order for you to go on your trip. We need to start your visa processing so we can go on your trip. You can also mention the hotel or flights, and those rates can and will go up, as we all know. Flights are pretty crazy, and the longer you wait and the closer you get to your trip, the more likely they're to increase, as well as the hotels. So if your clients book earlier, they'll lock in that rate and they won't experience the pain of something increasing in price. As I mentioned before, your clients are going to travel. They're gonna book, whether it's with you or somebody else. The important thing is that they book with you. So again, making sure that you create some sort of sense of urgency that they book with you and not some other person who they contact in 3 or 4 days. It's really important. So again, creating that sense of urgency, so making sure they do book with you. Next, I would say one of my personal favorites is to schedule the next call. Literally at the end, or when you feel the conversation coming to an end with your customer, ask them, when is the next time that we can speak on this? Or when do you think you'll review it with your husband or wife or the other travelers who are on the trip? Oh, great. Can I follow up with you on this day after you visit them and speak with them? Make sure you put that in your notes. Make sure you follow up with them on those days. And it shows, one, again, builds that trust. It shows that you care and that you're there for them. And a lot of times nowadays, that's the best way to do business, is just showing that your clients that you are there for them, that you are there to fight for them. And yeah, that's really what I have to say about that point. I really do thank you all for literally listening today. Hopefully it was educational. Hopefully you learned a lot. What's next to come is October. We'll be having another webinar and we'll be speaking about Northern Lights. Those Northern Lights programs that we have encompass Iceland, Norway, Sweden, and believe it or not, probably the #1 destination for Northern Lights in terms of infrastructure for traveling there to see these Northern Lights and outdoor activities is Finland. A lot of you may be familiar with the glass igloos they have there. Again, there's so many cool boutique hotels for the Northern Lights in Finland. Again, it can be a little pricier for those, but again, if your clients are really looking for an experience and something different, the Northern Lights for the Scandinavian Iceland products that we have are a lot of fun and really cool, especially for families too. So take a look at those and look out for our upcoming emails regarding the October webinar. And again, thank you all for listening. And right now we'll have a quick Q&A. Always feel free to reach out to us via email, agent@firebirdtours.com. Feel free to call me. Number is listed right there. Join us on our social media pages at Firebird Tours from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, YouTube. Actually, YouTube, I'd like to mention that again real quickly. My colleague Vera, fascinating, charming girl. She is actually based out of our St. Petersburg office, St. Petersburg, Russia. She has very educational videos about our tours within Russia, and it's a lot of fun to follow her. So take a look there. Also follow us on Twitter. Obviously, the hashtag you see at the very top, webinar. So again, feel free to reach out to us there. And again, thank you again all for listening. It's been a pleasure. I'm also going to go through some of the questions that I had today. Not sure if Morta was able to get back to all of you. I'll go ahead and answer some of those now. One from Oksana. I'm currently in the California Bay Area, relocated from New Jersey. You're a home-based agent. Great, we love home-based agents. I need some tips for hot trips from San Francisco, I guess. Yeah, so honestly, San Francisco has a lot of great flights coming out, especially going into the destinations we mentioned today. Maybe not so much Morocco, but definitely for Spain and Italy. I'll have to double check Portugal. I haven't looked at too many flights from San Fran to Lisbon per se, but there's got to be some direct ones and some nice flights. Sheila, hi Benjamin. Hello Sheila, how's it going? Let's see here. Look for more questions. Do you provide pre-printed brochures? Ursula, thank you for the question. Pre-printed, not per se, not really. But if you do have an inquiry that comes in for a specific destination that we do cover, literally drop us a line and we can send you a program and quote within 1 hour. literally 1 hour. The only times it's hard for us to really do that is if it's a customized tour and we're really moving things around a lot. However, it's a more general tour, and clients really want to see what we can offer. Again, reach out to us. We can send you a link, which is really easy to open. You can share that with your customers and they'll see the full program. So Ursula, thank you for your question. From Paul. Paul, you asked if we sell direct to consumers or we just strictly B2B, business to business. We do both actually. And yeah, so we sell to normal consumers as well as to businesses and agents such as yourself. So yeah, we do sell to both. And Sheila, thank you for sharing your website. I'll definitely take a look at that. I do appreciate that. Paul, you you asked again. Do you offer co-branding or white labeling? Sorry, I haven't seen co-branding in a while. Oh, we always call it white labeling. So yes, we do offer white labeling on all of our tours. So we can even put your logo on there too, to your email address, to your telephone number, you name it. Just make sure you tell us though, because we don't do it every single time, as it does take a good 25 minutes extra because you got to get your logo, we got to put it on there. So it just takes little few items. So a friendly reminder is very helpful for us and to whoever's giving you the quote, whether it's me or one of the other agents here in the office. They can definitely assist and make sure we white label it. Sorry, just scrolling here through some of these more of these questions. And thank you for all of you who are still tuned in. I do appreciate it. If you have a small group like 4 people, can they be added to an existing group? Emily, I will try and I think I'm understanding. So say you have 4 travelers, I hope that's what you're asking, and if they can join another small group, which we currently have, absolutely. And another example is, say we have a small group tour date and you got a lucky lead for 8 passengers. Well, your 8 passengers, we can put them in a small group tour and basically they have almost the whole small group tour minus a few spots. So yeah, absolutely, we can definitely set that up for you. Another very popular thing, which I want to mention, should have done it earlier, darn it. It's customizing your own small group tours, if you will. So, right, a few of my agents, they already have a following or people who like to travel with them, and they set up their own tours, which we customize for them, and the travel agents go on them themselves, and they're traveling with those travelers just the same as the travelers would be. So again, and a lot of times we can offer an FOC. FOC equals free of charge, which means we already factored in and asked the hotels, asked the suppliers, hey, the person who's bringing us all this business, they're traveling and they shouldn't have to pay for the touring portion. So basically all you would have to pay for is your flight portion just to get yourself there, and then you'll be taking care of the rest of the way and you can bring your group around and show them on this tour. It's really a great tool and great feature for our agents out there. Sheila, great question. How do you overcome a price of rejection? Price objections and rejections, big one. For one, don't even focus on it. If someone says, well, this is too expensive, well, for one, they need to know what's included. And you don't need to break it down saying, and don't ever break it down for anybody. Don't break down, oh, this is this, this is this, this is, the hotels cost this much, the touring costs this much. You'll end up shooting yourself in the foot, especially with nowadays, with how much people are connected within the internet. A quick Google search, they'll find it, and they'll debunk you on your pricing, unfortunately. So stay away from that. Focus on what's included, and focus on you. Focus on the service. Focus on when they're traveling. What are you going to do when you get stuck? Well, if you book it on your own, you're kind of left out. But if you book it with a company such as us, or with you, you're there for support. You can help them. They can get a refund if something came up, whether it was a driver had a flat tire on the way to pick them up. Things like this can get resolved much more quickly and better when using a company. And these are things you should bring up to your customers when they come up with an objection. And sorry, I'm just looking through some more of your questions here. Sheila, yep, you asked if we provide the flight package within the program. No, we don't. Very seldom do we do that, and that's usually only when it's like a huge group that we're doing and everyone has to be on the same flight. But we still actually quote those flights typically separate from the overall package, just because we all know flights are pretty tricky. So the only flights that we would, I would say, include within anything within our services is going to be those internal flights. So if you need to fly from Rome to Lisbon, or if you're flying from Lisbon to Madrid, and all those services are within the package, then that's when those flights aren't included. Jess, you mentioned private tours, FIT. Single travelers tend to be relatively particular. They can, tend to have more time and price check you. It's something we can do, not something that we always focus on, I would say, all too much. But if there's a particular case, we can definitely assist. But usually we try to look for something that's 2 packs or more whenever they're traveling. We do work with single travelers. Typically, there is a single supplement. Just to let you know, that single supplement, what it's really covering, it's covering the price difference of the transfers as well as the price difference for the hotels. So that's really about it. So our single supplements range depending upon the region and what hotels are included. But usually you can factor in anywhere from $60 to $90 a day and just multiply that by how many days they have. That's kind of where you're getting at. So it's usually anywhere from $600 to $1,100. I know it's a big gap, but there's a lot of variables that come into that, which is why I want to give you the big gap for the single supplements. Okay. Wow. You guys asked some great questions today. This is amazing. Geraldine, you asked if you can stay in Casablanca for 2 or 3 days. Again, for any regarding private tours, we can really plan anything under the sun, as long as we just double check everything and make sure everything's okay from the logistical standpoint. And our logistics, again, is located in Europe. We have now about 5 offices in Europe, which do help support me and you and your customers while they're traveling. We can, provide really flexible programming and custom tours. All right, everyone. Well, thank you again. I think that's about it. That covers all those questions. If we missed any questions too, reach out to me on LinkedIn. Again, search me, Benjamin Schulze. I'll be there. I'm always posting things as well. Feel free to call us. Again, the number's listed here on the Q&A, 800-884-1721. Any of our representatives can assist. They are as much knowledgeable as I am and always happy to help. So again, thank you for tuning in for this month's webinar. Look out for our next month's webinar in October, where we'll discuss the Northern Lights. And really, I do appreciate your time and attention. You guys are great. I hope you have a successful rest of your 2018, and let's go have a great 2019 as well. Another note, I will be traveling to our European office this Saturday. I'm actually going to Vilnius, Lithuania, believe it or not. And I will be there from the 22nd of September to October 5th. Still working, just shifted hours, and usually my day ends around 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope all is well, and take care.